Remember that the characters in Power Rangers are not real. They are played by specially trained actors, and for your own safety, please do not try to imitate them.
Since some of you liked this video, I feel like doing another video similar to this. My history of Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers! But no, I don't mean Linkara's. Okay, let's use a more original title. How about How I Became a Fan of Power Rangers? Is that better? Okay. It all started at around 2004. On top of watching all of those videotapes I mentioned in the other video, I was tuning into a fair amount of shows on a few kids channels. You name it. Pre-movie SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents on Nicktoons, Powerpuff Girls and Ed, and Eddie on Cartoon Network, Tom and Jerry and Dastardly and Motley on Boomerang, Arthur and Raven on CBBC, CBeebies shows like Come Outside, Step Inside, Andy Pandy, Bob the Builder and 64 Zoo Lane, Blue's Clues and Dora the Explorer on Nick Jr. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking either. When one day I discovered this little channel called Jetix. I was already tuning into Jetix to watch plenty of Goosebumps episodes. I wanted to watch the show after seeing all the awesome book covers. And during an advert break, after Churchill and Cheese Strings and Bounty, they started promoting shows like Totally Spies and PXG, and then something that really caught my interest.
In the not-too-distant future, Earth has become a haven for all alien races. They come from the furthest reaches of the galaxy to live in peace. Most of the newcomers live in harmony, but for the few who cannot, there is...
Space Patrol Delta! Defenders of Earth!
A new breed of police, bringing criminals to justice.
You do the crime, you pay the time.
Earth depends on you.
Power Rangers S.P.D. every day at 7:30.
That's right, Power Rangers S.P.D. was the first season of the show I ever saw. Well, sure, they were already broadcasting Dino Thunder, but it didn't seem to interest me as much as S.P.D, or that I didn't know it was from the same series. But for some reason, S.P.D got me wanting to watch it. There were lots of things about it that interested my puny child mind. The giant robot, the fact that they were super police officers, my dad was working for the police at the time, and the colorful, eye-catching outfits. I loved the designs, I loved the range of colors, I loved it. And after watching a few episodes of the season, it did not disappoint me. I liked the characters, I liked the costumes, I liked the premise, I liked the Megazords, and I liked the action. I didn't even find all the Cal explosions boring or tiresome, mainly because there were no Saban action scenes for me to compare them to, because I didn't watch them at this point. I was obsessed with S.P.D as a kid. I continuously watched the show on Jetix, I was freaking out over the toys, I bought 2 of the DVDs, and then I eventually found out that there were other Power Ranger shows, mainly through promos. Dino Thunder, Wild Force, Lightspeed Rescue, Ninja Storm. This led me to go onto the internet to find out more about them. And then I discovered this really useful website called Ranger Central. Basically, this was the place to find out about Power Rangers history. All the Rangers, all the weapons, all the Zords, all the episodes, all the toy info, nearly everything from the past 13 years. I was super intrigued. I liked the look of all the costumes, was surprised on how many Megazords the later seasons had, and what weapons certain Rangers had. It was then that I started watching Dino Thunder and Wild Force on Jetix, and buying DVDs of other seasons, like this very best of Power Rangers DVD. It featured the top 5 fan-voted, fan-favorite episodes from Mighty Morphin to Wild Force, which are Countdown to Destruction, Forever Red, To the 10th Power, White Light, and and Trakeena's Revenge. Of all the other episodes you could have voted for, Green with Evil, A Zeo Beginning, Ninja Quest, hell, since this mostly consists of team-up episodes, why not Reinforcements from the Future? Instead, you chose Trakeena's Revenge, 2 episodes focusing more on a little girl instead of the Lightspeed or Galaxy Rangers. Kids. Also, after all the catchy songs I've listened to over the years, Ben 10, Fairly Odd Parents, S.P.D, Animaniacs, DuckTales, why is it that I can still remember perfectly that cringy song they used for this Colors of the Rangers marathon?
Red and yellow and pink and blue, and there's a ranger that's green. All the colors of a ranger on your TV.
All the colors of a Ranger week. 5 Rangers for 5 days. Monday is Blue Ranger Day. Tuesday, green. Wednesday, pink. Thursday, yellow. And Friday is Red Ranger Day.
Fighting evil wherever it lies. Here comes the ultimate team. All the colors of a ranger on your TV.
It's embarrassing now, but back then, it was stupidly entertaining. But they didn't celebrate Saturday or Sunday as a white or black Ranger Day. Those Rangers exist too, you know. Still, it's really strange how a marathon that only lasted 1 half term is still in the deepest corners of my memory. Soon, Jetix announced Power Rangers Mystic Force, and I started to lose a bit of interest when watching it. I think I stopped watching new episodes after the Rangers defeated Mordecon, although I still rewatched S.P.D, Dino Thunder and Wild Force. And this is where my Power Rangers memory gets rather muddled and confusing. I backed out of the show in the middle of Mystic Force. I never saw Operation Overdrive on Jetix, thank the Lord. I was interested in Jungle Fury, so I watched the whole of that season on Jetix. I backed away again once it ended. Never saw RPM on TV. I hardly watched Samurai when it was on Channel 5, but I did watch the final 10 or so episodes of Super Samurai on Channel 5 out of pure boredom, so I didn't really pay much attention to it. And I watched the whole first season of Megaforce on Demand 5. But one day, while I was watching random videos on YouTube, I discovered a video showcasing the legendary war from something called Gokaiger. What is this? What the hell? All the Power Rangers I've seen on Jetix and Ranger Central were all together, alongside some Rangers I have never seen before? Well, okay, a few years previously, I've discovered the other side of the Ranger Central website. I then saw loads of other Rangers I had never seen before, and the ones I have seen before. Ones from the 70s, ones from the 80s, and ones from 2006. But I wasn't on this Super Sentai Central for very long because, you know, Power Rangers. But soon enough came 2014. I started my YouTube channel a few months earlier. I had already watched the whole of Megaforce, which was meh, and they started promoting the 20th anniversary of the franchise and Super Megaforce. The Rangers getting new powers, a new evil force coming to invade Earth, but most astonishingly of all, they announced the Legendary Battle and Legendary Ranger modes. The Rangers can now morph into every single Ranger team from the past 20 years. My mind was almost blown. I watched the first episode of Super Megaforce, and I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, I kind of enjoyed it back then. But But after watching more of the season as it kept going, my brain started to switch back on, and I found myself asking a few questions. Why wasn't Mighty Morphin the first team they morphed into? How are they using the S.P.D powers if this takes place 11 years before the events of S.P.D? Where is Time Force? Where is Lightspeed Rescue? Why are they morphing into Sentai teams? And I waited for the legendary battle, and surprise, surprise, it was a massive disappointment. The anniversary stuff was awful, the ending was obviously rushed, and the final fight was nowhere near as great as they were constantly hyping it up to be. I was not a happy panda. My hopes for Dino Charge were very, very low after the failures of Super Megaforce. But still, I watched it anyway, and it was a big improvement. Even in the first 8 episodes, I liked the better acting, better story, better characters, and the bigger amounts of original footage. And from 2015 to 17, it was a pretty straight line. I watched and enjoyed Dino Charge and Dino Supercharge. I didn't really even mind the finale at the time. I watched the full seasons of Gokaiger, Koyuger, and Tokyuger in my spare time. And eventually, I watched the entirety of Linkara's History of Power Rangers videos. It was from his videos that I have discovered loads, and I mean loads, of character elements, storylines, flaws, achievements, history, and common opinions that I had no idea about years ago. Even when I was on Ranger Central, I found out how important the Green with Evil saga was, about the Peace Conference in Season 2, and why 3 of the actors left the show. I found out about the Zeo Crystal and how its power keeps growing stronger, the terrible decision to change into the Turbo powers. I found out what Terra Venture was, who the Psycho Rangers were, why they were so awesome, the powerful story and characters from Time Force, how production was moved over to New Zealand after Wild Force, the many problems with Operation Overdrive, how different and mature RPM was compared to every previous season, how lazy the writing was in both Samurai and Megaforce, and I discovered even more problems with Super Megaforce. How did Gosei get a hold of these legendary powers? Why aren't any of these characters given any development? If the Zeo Crystal grows stronger as time moves on, why aren't they using the Zeo powers all the time? Should this mean that after 15 years after the events of Zeo, the crystal's power would have given them the power of gods? Why were the legendary cameo invitations sent out a month before filming after 2 to 3 years of planning? Plus 2, I noticed how problematic the Dino Supercharge finale was. So, if it wasn't for Linkara and his History of Power Rangers videos, I'd be an ignorant little sod who enjoys watching the show, but doesn't really understand it. Just like how I was when I watched the show as a kid. Thanks, Linkara. Thanks. So, where am I with the show right now? Well, I watched the whole of Ninja Steel and the current episodes of Super Ninja Steel, and most of my opinions are mostly the same. Victor and Morty are still unbearable. I'm still split over them relying more on technology instead of actual ninja stuff. I like the plot twist that Brody's lost brother Aiden was actually Levi. I kinda liked the finale. I didn't like how the season 2 premiere brought back everything that was lost in the finale, as if it all never happened. Well, except for bringing Galvanax back to life. I liked how they confirmed that Dino Charge takes place in another different universe, add that one onto the list, and thus fixing most of the time travel nonsense from End of Extinction. And right now, I'm kind of waiting for either the next few episodes of the season, or the 25th anniversary episode featuring the Alien and Ninja Storm Rangers, and see if it can be any better than Once a Ranger or the entirety of Super Megaforce. If not combined, we'll just see. As for hopes as to what Hasbro will do with the show in the future, well, I'm really hoping that the writing, storytelling, character growth, and effort are much better handled in the upcoming Beast Morphers than they were in Samurai, Megaforce, and Ninja Steel. Okay, let's face it guys, the Neo Saban era really wasn't that great overall, and I hope that the Hasbro era will be a tiny bit of an improvement. Less dialogue and punch during the fight scenes, not shoehorning in toy advertisements into every episode, more interesting or relatable characters, and great nods to continuity or developing plot elements from earlier seasons. For example, since Beast Morphers is set to take place in the future, maybe you can do a team-up episode with some new S.P.D cadets a decade or so after Grum was confined, or start the beginning stages of building Time Force or something. Anything you can do to surprise us, even the tiniest bit. The show might have gone downhill a bit thanks to the Neo Saban era, but the show can get better. It can be saved, if being put in the right hands. But for now, let's just hope that Super Ninja Steel will end on a slightly high note. And I'll see you all in the next video.